Hey fellow movers, here we have a hip mobility routine, and it's also going to work the rest of the body at the same time. We're going to break it down into 3 sections, and for the first section we're balancing on a single leg. If you need to hold on to a wall or a railing, do so. Let's start off balancing on the right leg and rotate fully and completely through that left hip. About 3 or 4 rotations in one direction, and then reverse the direction. Attempt to keep the torso tall and upright, and attempt to move maximally through that hip joint as you rotate through. And then gingerly step into the left leg and repeat the exercise as you rotate through your right hip. And as you do so, keep that right knee bent to about 90 degrees. Keep your pelvis squared forward and avoid rotating the hips open to the sides. Try to strictly rotate through that right hip. And imagine you're lifting that right leg up high over a box, clearing the box as you engage through that right glute. And again, we're going in both directions. 3 to 4 repetitions, each direction, abs engaged, standing tall, and holding on to something as needed. And then we will step into the right leg with control and start rotating now through the left hip in the shape of a figure 8. Imagine you are drawing a figure 8 with the toes of the left foot for about 5 to 8 repetitions in one direction, and then change the direction. This one can feel a little bit funny and awkward. Work at it. Now we step into the left leg and move through the right hip in the shape of a figure 8. Start with that knee bent quite hard, the right knee, as it moves in the shape of the figure 8. And as you get a little bit more comfortable with the move, you can start to straighten the leg out a little bit more. And once again, we'll step into the right leg, shift the weight with control. And then we're balancing on the right leg one more time and attempting to maintain balance as we allow the left leg to move about in a variety of patterns, and the arms to move about the body as well, as if you're trying to throw yourself off balance with your 3 limbs as you balance on the 4th limb. And attempt to balance on that single leg for 10 or 20 seconds before changing legs. And then we're going to be moving on to section number 2, but we can just break it up with a little spinal waving. Here I have the spinal wave in the frontal plane. That's moving from side to side, and we're moving from the top down. So we lead with the crown of the head. Now we'll be getting into a little locomotion here, but let's warm up the hips by taking the feet wide and alternating this Cossack squat. So with the feet about double shoulder width apart, we're squatting down and shifting the pelvis from left to right and back again. And after doing that a few times, side to side, we're going to be traveling sideways. Now if you're limited in space, maybe just move 1 or 2 steps to the left and then reverse. So this is the lateral traveling Cossack squat, and I did a video on this one some time back. I'm going to put the link to that in the descriptions box below. But you're placing 2 hands behind your back. From there you'll outstretch one leg in the direction of travel. The opposite knee is bent. We'll shift the pelvis over towards the outstretched leg, bending that knee, extending through the opposite leg, and the hands will come back behind the pelvis in order to sit down or keep the pelvis just off the ground. And if you wish to do this exercise with no hands, keep going without touching the hands down. Let's also add in some internal rotation of the hip for the bent knee. So as you sit with one leg outstretched, you're going to forward fold in towards the outstretched leg as the opposite knee draws in towards the ground, so that you're creating internal rotation in that hip. Use the hands as much as you need. Keep the knees bent as much as you need. And again, you do not have to sit the pelvis all the way down to the ground. If you'd like to keep those hips held up high and just bend the knees ever so slightly, the exercise is still very beneficial. You'll be pushing the hips to the side and still getting a nice mobility drill in. After several sets of the lateral traveling Cossack squat, we're moving into a scorpion hook. And we're going to work on opening up through the hips as we bear weight through the arms and push strong through the arms. We'll begin by sitting the hips back towards the heels. In a deep squat, pushing through the arms, we can call that the loaded beast. And from there, we're going to be kicking one leg up high to the sky. And straighten the knee and bend the knee. Straighten the knee and bend the knee, and just explore what feels good as you stretch and reach, creating tension through the outstretched leg as it reaches to the sky and then bends at the knee. And perform a few of those on each side. And in between, sit the hips towards the heels in that loaded beast position in the deep squat. And after about 3 of those on each side, it's nice to perform some spinal waves from hands and knees. And this is movement in the sagittal plane, tucking the chin to the chest with flexion of the spine and then moving into extension of the spine and reversing it. Attempting to segment through the spinal column as we wave through the spine from hands and knees, using the abdominals, creating a little bit of movement between each and every vertebra of the spine. And nice work, guys. Thanks for joining me for this hip mobility routine where we got a little work done for the upper body and core. I hope you enjoyed this routine. If you did, please click on the link in the top right corner to see more natural movement videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep moving naturally for life.